Finally, I'm approaching the Key West. The weather is changing a lot this day, but the sun over the ocean looks marvelous. In the very beginning of Key West, there is a small camping with Iguana Cafe, a place where you can feed iguanas. This place is also prepared for Halloween. Also a nice kennel here. I heard that iguanas like apples, so I was hoping to buy apples right in front of the cafe. But seems like there is no offer, so I'm heading to the closest shop, which is not that close. You can see here typical small city landscape. It looks very industrial. The road signs differ a lot comparing to Europe. In the beginning it is confusing, but you get used to it pretty fast. Check out this sign, I wonder what it means. Probably tractor on the road. Getting back to iguanas, I found them sitting on the tree. Seems like there is some food left here from their dinner. I had a hope to feed them with apples. Unfortunately, no luck. Iguanas did not show any interest to eat. Probably they are not hungry. Though I had no luck with iguana, I found this lizard in my hotel. It was eating a cracker right in front of my door. There are lots of lizards here, and this type I saw pretty often on the island. Basilica of Saint Mary, Star of the Sea. The relations with Catholic Church here were pretty complicated, depending on who possessed the territory. This one was established in 1851 and it is the first permanent Catholic church on the Key West. As it is end of October, the city is already preparing for Halloween and you can already see some houses decorated for the holiday. This is not just to show how people like this holiday, but also this is an indicator for kids that this house is participating in a trick-and-treat tradition and is giving away candies. So kids would know to which houses to go, and usually the bigger decorations are, the better candies are expected. The island of Key West is about 4 miles, 6 kilometers long and 1 mile, 2 kilometers wide, with a total land area of 4.2 square miles. Though it is not that big, it is pretty flat, so you don't often see a coastline, you mostly see buildings around and you don't have a feeling that you are actually on the island. The streets look pretty nice and green, but same as in many United States cities, it really depends on the district. So also here some districts look very nice and clean and some poor and dangerous, though it's pretty small territory. This is the main street with plenty of bars, tattoo salons and strange party clothes. Though it's still not late evening, lots of people are wearing costumes and bars are already full. Cayo Hueso is the original Spanish name of the island of Key West. It literally means bone cay. Cay referring to a low island of the reef. It is said that the island was littered with the remains, mostly bones, of prior native inhabitants. They used the isle as a communal graveyard. This island was the westernmost key with a reliable supply of water. One of the most notable points is St. Paul's Episcopal Church. Between 1763, when Great Britain took control of Florida from Spain, and 1821, when the United States took possession of Florida from Spain, there were few or no permanent inhabitants anywhere in the Florida Keys. Cubans and Bahamians regularly visited the Keys. The Cubans mostly to fish, while the Bahamians fished, caught turtles, cut hardwood timber, and salvaged wrecks. Smugglers and privateers also used the Keys for concealment. Conch train station. Many residents of Key West were immigrants from Bahamas, known as conchs, who arrived in increasing number after 1830. Many of them were loyalists who fled to nearest Crown territory during the American Revolution. In the 20th century, many residents of Key West started referring themselves as conchs, and the term is now generally applied to all residents of the Key West. The original meaning is still about people with European ancestry who immigrated from the Bahamas. As they say, when the baby was born, the family would put a conch shell on a pole in front of their home. In the 1830s, Key West was the richest city per capita in the United States. In 1846, the city suffered severely from the Havana hurricane. In the 19th century, major industries included wrecking, fishing, turtling, and salt manufacturing. In the mid of 19th century, Key West was a major center of US salt production, harvesting commodity from the sea rather than from the salt mines. Salt production was destroyed by 1876 hurricane and never recovered. Also because the new salt mines were on the mainland. Several cigar factories relocated to the city from Cuba, and Key West quickly became a major producer of cigars. Unfortunately, on 1886 a fire destroyed 18 cigar factories, leading to a slow decline in the cigar industry in Key West. Still, it remained the largest and wealthiest city in Florida at the end of 1880s. Starting in 1946, United States President Harry Truman established a working vacation home in Key West, the Harry Truman's Little White House. He was spent here 175 days of his presidency. Truman stayed there mostly in the winter months, and he used it for official business such as the Truman Doctrine. Eisenhower stayed in the Little White House following his heart attack in 1955. Also, John Kennedy and Jimmy Carter visited Key West and stayed in the Little White House. There are lots of corks and chickens around. I heard that it is usually around the place where people from Cuba live. They usually like to keep free running chickens to run around their homes, even in the city. In this park, besides of the corks, you can see many other exotic birds and reptiles. Naval Air Station Key West. This is the main facility on Boca Chica. And from the new military station, I'm going to an old one. Fort Zachary Taylor, constructed from 1845 to 1866. It was an important Key West outpost during the Civil War. While Florida joined the Confederate States of America, Key West remained in US Union because of the naval base. Most locals were sympathetic to the Confederacy, and many flew Confederate flags over their homes. As this is a relatively modern fort, it differs a lot from medieval fortresses. The walls are very massive and relatively low to withstand an artillery strike and reliably protect the construction. Also, there is a water channel surrounding the fort, making it extremely hard to conquer. Close to the fort there is a very nice beach with a grill place. Getting back to the history, in October 1909, Key West was devastated by the Florida Keys hurricane, and next year there was another Cuba hurricane. Key West was relatively isolated until 1912, when it was connected to the Florida mainland via overseas railway, extension of Henry Flagler's Florida East Coast Railway. 1919 Florida Keys hurricane caused catastrophic damage to the city. Pan American Airlines was founded in Key West, originally to fly visitors from Havana in 1826. In 1835, the Labor Day hurricane destroyed much of the overseas railway and killed hundreds of residents. The FEC could not afford to restore the railroad. The US government then rebuilt the railroad as an automobile highway, completed in 1938. Franklin Roosevelt toured the road in 1939. During the Second World War, more than 14,000 ships came through the island's harbor. The population, because of soldiers, sailors, laborers and tourists, sometimes doubled or even tripled during the war. In 1948, Key West suffered damage from the hurricanes within many months. Prior to Cuban Revolution, 1959, there were regular ferry and airplane services between Key West and Havana. John F. Kennedy was to use 90 miles from Cuba extensively in the speech against the Fidel Castro. Kennedy visited Key West a month after the resolution of the Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1982, the city of Key West briefly asserted independence as the Kong Republic as a protest over a United States Border Patrol blockade. Though it was a very short time when they proclaimed independence, the Kong Republic independence celebration, including parades and parties, is celebrated annually on April 23rd, even nowadays. I'm passing the naval station again. The air station's purpose is readiness training for carrier-based strike fighter, electronic attack, and carrier airborne early warning squadrons of the US Atlantic Fleet and US Pacific Fleet. Naval aviators and naval flight officers are training here for air combat training prior to overseas deployment. Key West was always an important military post, as it sits at the northern edge of the deep water channel connecting the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Because of this, Key West since 1820s had been called as Gibraltar in the West. A district close to the military base looks dangerous and not very clean. One of the most popular attractions is a replica of a buoy at the corner of the South and Whitehead streets. That claims to be the southernmost point in the contiguous United States. The point was originally marked with a basic sign. The city of Key West erected the current monument in 1983. It was repainted after damage by Hurricane Irma in 2017, and it is the most often photographed tourist site in the Florida Keys. Though it's labeled as southernmost point in the USA, the actual southernmost point of Key West is the Whitehead Spit, which is on Truman Annex property just west to the buoy. But since it's on the US Navy land, that cannot be entered by civilians and tourists. Getting back to the city, here you can see a shop selling all kinds of corks. I'm going to Miami now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you the next time.